And I think what people don't know is he really was a dad. So he could be completely hands-on and completely hands-off at the same time.
Everyone remembers Richard Pryor as the man who made the world laugh, but few know the dark, twisted reality behind his genius. His daughter, Rain Pryor, grew up in a house where laughter and chaos lived side by side. A world filled with drugs, violence, and secrets so deep they could destroy a family. From the outside, Richard was a comedy legend. But behind closed doors, he was a broken man fighting demons that began long before fame ever found him. Born in 1940 in Peoria, Illinois, Richard's childhood was something out of a nightmare. His mother was a sex worker, his father a violent hustler, and his grandmother ran a brothel where Richard was raised, surrounded by sex, crime, and corruption. By 6, he was peeking through keyholes, watching things no child should ever see. By 10, he had already been abused and scarred, physically and emotionally. And yet somehow, that pain became the foundation of his comedy. Raw, fearless, and painfully honest. When he hit the stage in the 1960s, Pryor wasn't just telling jokes. He was exposing his soul. At first he tried to play it safe, doing clean routines to please white audiences. But one night in Las Vegas, he stopped mid-performance and asked himself, "What the hell am I doing here?" That was the night Richard Pryor was reborn. He walked off that stage and came back a different man. Wild, angry, brilliant. His words cut through hypocrisy and racism, turning pain into power. By the 1970s, he was unstoppable, breaking barriers with albums like That Nigger's Crazy and Wanted, Live in Concert. He wrote for Blazing Saddles, hosted Saturday Night Live, and told stories that made people laugh and cry at the same time. But while the world saw a comedic genius, Richard was slowly falling apart. Cocaine became his best friend, his worst enemy, and eventually, his executioner. In 1980, he set himself on fire while high, suffering burns over half his body. He barely survived, but even that, he turned into comedy, joking about running down the street in flames. That was Richard, burning, yet still performing. But the fame came with heartbreak. 7 marriages, countless affairs, violence, arrests, and a spiral that even love couldn't stop. Behind the laughter were broken relationships and children who barely knew their father. Rain Pryor, born in 1969, saw it all. From the mansions to the madness. She saw her dad high, violent, and lost. She also saw him tender, funny, and full of love he didn't know how to give. When she grew up, she turned that pain into art, acting, writing, and performing her one-woman show Fried Chicken and Latkes, where she told her truth, raw and unfiltered. But in 2018, years after Richard's death, Rain had had enough when Richard's widow, Jennifer Lee, claimed he had slept with Marlon Brando. Rain exploded. She accused Jennifer of manipulating her dying father, stealing millions, and twisting his legacy for fame. Lawsuits flew. Family members turned on each other. Jennifer said she was just protecting Richard's memory. Rain said she was rewriting history. Even today, that fight continues. Over money, over diaries, over the truth. But the truth is, Richard Pryor was more than the scandals, the drugs, or the pain. He was the voice of a generation, a man who took the ugliest parts of life and turned them into laughter. He made America look in the mirror and see itself. His comedy wasn't just funny, it was revolutionary. From the brothels of Peoria to the bright lights of Hollywood, his journey was proof that genius often rises from the darkest places. And his daughter Rain? She's still fighting. Not just for her father's name, but for the truth about who he really was. A flawed man, a broken father, but a legend who changed comedy forever. Because sometimes, behind the laughter, there's a story that hurts to tell, but must be told. If you want to keep uncovering the untold stories behind Hollywood's brightest stars, their secrets, their struggles, and the truth they tried to hide, make sure you subscribe, like, and join us here on the Backstage Eyes. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we reveal what really happened behind the curtain.